Good morning, everybody. This is Dave Finale, and this is Real Estate Talk TGIF, episode number 252. Today we have Coach Jan Copeland, who is this wonderful person, this wonderful personality that helps women realtors throughout the country in North America. But this is episode 252. Jan, thank you so much for coming up. This has been 252 episodes, 249 weeks in a row. We are the longest running live broadcast in real estate in the nation. We are only second to broadcast to Byron Lazine. So we have to give him props because him and I argue about this all the time. Anyway, we're gonna go to I swear to God, that is true. So we're gonna go to a quick intro video. We'll see you all in 1 minute with Jan Copeland. Real estate agents, are you looking to acquire clients consistently to grow your business and income for a great lifestyle? Well, this is Dave Finale, and I'm here to bring you the Real Estate Skill Builder broadcast, Real Estate Talk TGIF, brought to you by Real Estate Skill Builder and the Modern Agent team. Good morning, everybody. As I said, this is Real Estate Talk TGIF number 252. We are actually on the road, proverbially on the road. We're on I-95 earlier today, and we stopped in Virginia to do this broadcast with Jan. So literally on the road. And the first question, Jan, before we get going, I got a real important question that I ask everybody that starts this broadcast. And it is, what does TGIF stand for?
Well, to me, thank God it's Friday. I don't know.
But,
what else does it
you know what, Jan, I got to tell you that most people say that, and you're in the majority, which is cool, but it's wrong. The answer is, thank God it's finale. I mean, how could you think about that, right?
Gotcha.
Right? It all happens to work out. I want to give a shout out to my friend Ruth Katchen, who put us together to be on this broadcast and to get this stuff together. Ruth's out in Colorado doing some great things out there with new agents. She's actually with Lab Coat agents, working with them as well. And shout out to Ruth for that. So Jan, here we are. You're the CEO and founder of CEO Agent Academy.
Yeah.
Right? So talk to me about your journey. Talk to me about how you got to the place you're at now in your life and in your business. You know, what got you to coaching? What got you to real estate? How'd you get to today for us talking?
All right. Well, how much time do you have? No, I'm just kidding. So I want to start this story because I love that you have this podcast, and congratulations on running so consistently. That's really amazing. All right. So what I want to start with was that I came from really, poor stock. I had a boyfriend when I was young, and his mother, he came from money, and he said he wanted to marry me, and she said, but she's white trash. So I was like, dang, okay.
That's heavy.
But I always knew that I wasn't, and I always knew that I was destined for more. So anyway, after college, I went to college paying my own way. What I discovered was that, because I had always been in the shadow of my twin sister, and what I discovered was that I could do anything that I wanted to do. And that's really why I am a coach right now. And that's really actually why I became a real estate agent. But let me back up a little bit. So I had a very successful corporate career. I worked at the then Bell Atlantic Mobile Systems, which is now, Verizon Wireless. And I had a great career with them. Went up the ranks, started out outside sales, went up the ranks, and became known to take the worst sales team to become the best sales team. And I did that in Philadelphia, in Princeton, New Jersey. And then I came back to my roots in Allentown, Pennsylvania. So for those of you who are there, hello. And I love all those places. And then I had risen up in the ranks. They were grooming me for a VP position, an area VP. And I was in the senior director of sales and marketing for the Northeast region of the then AT&T Wireless, because there were a lot of mergers and such. And I met my husband online. And so I moved to the DC area. And basically what happened was I had a son who had some health challenges. He was in the NICU, and I decided I'm not working anymore. And thank God he's fine. He just got married a couple of months ago. But through that journey, what happened was I knew that I had to do something entrepreneurial. And so I had always been super independent. And my husband said, "Hey, Jan, you love interior design, you love homes, go get your real estate license." So the joke is that the one time that I actually listened to my husband, it turned out to be amazing. And I just approached entrepreneurialism. I've always had an interest in it. I always read Inc. magazine, Entrepreneur magazine, way back before it became like a cool thing to be. I think right now, a lot of people like to say they're entrepreneurs, not really understanding what it really means. Because when you're a real estate agent, you are really stepping into a new realm. So anyway, I had a very successful career. And then my oldest came to me and said, "You're going to be a grandma." I never had grandparents, and so I said, "Uh-oh, time to shift." And so
Right.
I spent 6 months, and I'm coming to the close, but I spent 6 months preparing my company assets, my database, getting all my systems together, and just packaging it together. My top star team member bought the team for a beautiful income, which allowed me to move to Richmond, Virginia, where I am now, to launch my coaching business. And since then, never looked back. Helping hundreds and hundreds of women become CEO agents.
Well, you finished college in 3 years, and that's pretty cool too. I
Yeah,
mean, how does that? I honestly, I know of one other person that did that, and that was my brother. Right? He also finished medical school in 3 years. I don't know how he did that either, but anyway. So, but you did that. How did you do that in 3 years? A lot of people say, "Well, school,"
yeah.
right?
Well, because I knew that I had things to do, right? So when you are focused, when I hear people say it takes time,
Right.
I disagree with that. I believe it takes focus, not time. It doesn't take time to go from 50,000 a year to 100,000 a year. It takes focus and commitment and determination. And so I had that goal because I was paying it myself. And I had I came out with, 20 some thousand in not credit card debt, in college debt. And I was
Right.
like, I think I can do this done. I can do this in 3 years. So that's what I did.
Right. So when we look at becoming an agent, you had a lot of pushback from your broker, whatever, to go into what you wanted to do. So talk to me about how you became first that top agent when you actually did get into real estate after AT&T.
Yeah. Okay. That's a really good question. Um, So I interviewed at different brokerages, and I decided that because I am a renegade, I always felt like I don't like following rules. I just want to do it my own way. I joined a mom and pop, and they had the largest market share in that market. And I have a Philly accent. I'm from the Philly area, and I moved to a small southern town where I stood out like a sore thumb. I didn't know at the time that would be to my detriment. I mean, to my good. It was good to stand out, right?
Right,
So
exactly.
so the way that I want to tell you this one story that really catapulted my career, and it was due to a decision I made, right? Because getting to your next level is a commitment, it's a focus, and it starts with a decision. So my mentor had some showings, and I had to be with her for 2 weeks. And there was a Wells Fargo sticker on the door. And so after the showing, I said to her, I said, "Hey, how did this person get this listing?" And she said, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Oh, Jan, that's cute. Why are you asking?" And I'm like, "Well, I was thinking, go
That's
for it."
cute.
And she goes, "Jan, this agent has been in the business 20 years. You just can't walk in and get that." And so anyway, I thought, okay, poo-poo her, even though I love her, she's watching. Anyway, so then I went to the broker and I said the same thing. And she like, "Oh, you're cute, Jan. Try it. But you have to have so much experience in this and that." And I'd only been in the business maybe 2 months.
Wow.
And so I don't know. I just prayed and I went to the Wells Fargo website and I just prayed and I said, "Okay, I'm not going to lie. I'm just going to put it all out there." So I said, "Nope. How many deals closed? None." Right? All this stuff, and then I wrote in there why, with my business background,
Right.
sales,
Right.
management, all that.
Right.
And then 2 days later, I was approved. I
So you
got
were told. So this was something you were told. That's cute. You can't do that. I mean,
yeah,
you don't have any experience. You didn't. Would that go along with what you said earlier? When people say it takes time, no,
yeah,
it takes focus.
that's
Would
right.
would that have a lot to do with that?
I
And
think
also
so.
the other thing you said, getting to the next level starts with commitment.
Yeah.
So why
You
would
have
they?
to really want it. You have to really want it.
So Jan, why would they pick you over somebody else, or was it just you were just the only one there?
No, my gosh, it was hyper competitive. And I think that it was God's divine intervention, first of all. And I also think that by my sharing my business background, because I didn't just come in here, raw with no business background. They
Right.
wanted, these asset managers wanted agents who were going to market. And I really spoke to my marketing expertise. So, you know, who knows?
Right. So you based a lot of things that you've done, and you've not based, but you preface with "I prayed" and stuff, and I'm a firm believer of that. So faith is very, very important to you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um, is that an integral part of how you do things on a day-to-day basis?
Absolutely.
Awesome,
Absolutely. Yeah.
awesome, great. Another thing you talked about was you wanted, and everything you did, you wanted to stand out. I believe I caught that earlier, right?
Mhm.
I've always believed in being different, right? So I have this thing I call the differentiator formula.
Mhm.
And basically it's a matter of being noisy, and what I mean by noisy, I've used that in quotes. I mean,
Yeah.
not that you're making a lot of noise, but you're making a lot of noise with how you say what you say and standing out, right?
Mhm.
So talk to me about what you've done in your career in order for you to stand out, to get you along the steps of where you are now.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great, great question. Because even when I was in outside sales, you have to stand out amongst the competition. All right. So with respect to as an agent, um, I'm 5'11", and so, there's not many women that are 5'11", so I did have that
Right.
of standing out, but I thought, "Okay." I didn't like the chamber. Like I told you, I was a renegade. I'm like, I don't wanna like, I went to the
Right.
chamber, that was the old-fashioned clique that was 3rd
Right.
generation money, and I'm like, "I'm out."
Right.
So, what I did, I know that I wanted to be with women. I've always had this heart for women because my mom was so depressed her entire life. She never lived, she just existed, and
Right.
so it's in my heart to really help women. It's a passion of mine. So I thought, okay, what can I do? So I thought, I'm going to have a monthly event, a monthly luncheon where I can be at the podium, but I can't do it myself. Okay. So number one, pick something you love. I'm passionate about helping women. So I'm like, okay, how can I do that? Okay. So then I thought a monthly luncheon, something that I would love. Right.
Right.
And I thought, okay, I can't do it alone. So I invited 10 women from different industries, and some I didn't even know. Like, I just went to the jewelry store and I said, "Can I talk to the owner?" And it was a woman. I went to the clothing store. "Can I talk to the owner?" And it was a woman. I mean, we're talking back in '06, '07, right? And so, in other words, I wasn't on Facebook or anything yet.
Right.
And so I invited 10 women to an advisory board meeting to put this monthly thing together. And it still exists now, and it's called Women of Winchester in Winchester, Virginia. But anyway, make a long story short, 5 of those women said yes, 5 said no. That's cool, no problem. Um, so 1 week before we had our first meeting, and this is really important to really have the audience understand. My best friend was very networked. And she goes, "Jan, you won't believe what happened. The local chamber of commerce called an all hands meeting to talk about you and this new group, and they're pissed."
Good.
And so then afterwards, she called me and she said, "They have issue with you saying no clicks," right? Because my mom always was depressed. She felt less than. My whole thing, all my marketing about this thing was, "Hey, all women are welcome. I don't care if you're Mary Kay. I don't care if you're, a lawyer. Like, every woman is important and valued here." And I decided to have speakers, which was another good thing because I love connecting people.
Right.
Anyway, and so that's how it worked. I was freaking out. I bawled my eyes out. I told my husband, I came home, I said, "I don't think I'm going to do this. It's not worth the negativity." And you know what he said? I'm so glad that he said this. He goes, "Jan, just have one meeting. See how it goes." We had like 80 some women there. Every month we had 80 to 100 and some women. And within 2 years, my good friend became the president of the chamber. and the two groups meld together, and they've been together ever since. They didn't
Wow.
meld.
Congratulations. Great
My
job.
meeting is still different because I gave it to the woman who was star on my team, who now has her own brokerage. She's doing amazing. But my point is, um, God worked it out that they couldn't get rid of me. So then now the groups are friendly. I guess that's the point. And
So is
that
it
really
more like for them
out.
was like you can't beat her, join her?
Right. And that really made me stand out, but it took a lot to get there.
Of course. I mean, for everything that we do, it takes time. With what I'm doing and starting a team and building a business and building agents that want to work, putting a cohesive group together is always going to take time, and it's always going to be met with decisions on discipline, right? Decisions on are you going to like keep going, or are you going to say screw it, right? And that's hard to do, right? I find that every day. Talk to me about the actual real estate business and how you were able to build as quickly as you were, along with the foreclosure business you got.
I just focused on, my brain was always on solving for others, right? And it wasn't in a people-pleasing way. And I want to make sure that that's very clear. It was coming from an area of expertise, because remember, in corporate, they were grooming me to be a regional VP.
Right.
So I was in a lot of leadership classes where we think about servant leadership as opposed to, selfish leadership. And so while other people were touting how great they were, number one, how can 20 people be number one? Whatever. Right. And all of that, I was really focused on, as I networked. And then once I jumped on Facebook in 08, I was really just focused on giving people an experience. And so I was gifting a lot, like throughout the process. I was doing wow experiences long before anybody ever talked about it. And so I had to grow a team for sanity purposes, because my business, I always say, it took me the 6 months to get my first closing. And after that, I never had a month without, for what, 14 years without a closing. And, yeah, so that's the answer.
Well, that's just fantastic. And now you're helping as many women as you possibly can on a daily basis with, the coaching you do. And you coach, basically, you just coach women. Is that correct?
Yep. Just women, team leaders, independent brokers, agents. Yep.
What do you typically find when working with the people you work with? What do you typically find that they need most help with?
Well, a couple of things. Number one, women are very much in compare and despair. And I've never worked with men in coaching, so I don't know if they suffer from that as well. But I think that's pretty big for women to be, in comparison, spend a lot of their time trying to get, quote, inspired from others, but it actually has the exact opposite result. It stifles their creativity. And so they put out, they buy into these marketing clubs, which, whatever. I'm against that, because then you and millions of others, or hundreds of thousands of others, are putting out the same stuff. But definitely compare and despair. I also think that it's a fear of failure, and overwhelm. So they feel like they have to do everything now. Everything is urgent. Everything has to be done now. And I think that when you think, it's thought errors. When you think you have to do everything now, then you're putting like a brick wall in front of your success. And I just never thought that. I always was able to prioritize, and I teach my clients to prioritize. If you have more than 3 priorities, you have no priorities. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So that's really important, because a lot of people they're juggling, right? And
Yeah.
whether it's a man or a woman, they're juggling like crazy. And then there's so many what I call squirrels, right? So right now I'm sitting in a Panera. Shout out to Panera, thank you for the Wi-Fi. And there's lots of people going back and forth. I'm sitting against the window, so I don't get that. And there's so many squirrels that I could look at. But in business, that's okay. So you're making prospecting calls, then your phone rings, or oh, wait a minute, I might have an email I should be looking at. How do you help your clients, the women, focus? How do you help them get that self-discipline that they need?
That's excellent. Well, you start everything with intention. So I teach them, like a habit or a practice that they should do every day in the morning to set their day with intention. So you mentioned prospecting and then the phone rings, or maybe you're waiting for maybe you're the listing agent and you're waiting for the buyer's agent to respond on a home inspection negotiation. Like you're always preoccupied. But when you set your day with intention, then you say, okay, on Tuesdays, that's my prospecting day. And I intentionally block out other things, and you set yourself up to be able to have that focused time so that you are not interrupted, because women, we were fed a lie decades ago when I was a kid. We were fed the lie of women are great multitaskers. And I do believe that women can handle more things at once than a man, with no offense to you, Dave. I'm just saying, I just think that's because God allowed us to be mothers, and, lots of stuff can go on at once.
I'm going to agree with you 100%.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean it's good for us. It's not good for
True.
us.
Right.
It's very frustrating. And that's why so many women, are overeating, have, one too many glasses of wine at night, because, we're pinging squirrel, squirrel, squirrel. And so
Right.
starting your day with intention and then setting yourself up proactively, making decisions to stop allowing yourself to have those interruptions.
Okay, so I want to drill down a little bit deeper with this, because as much as we set our days with intention, I find that, no matter what, I've got to do this, or this person's calling me, I got to pick up the phone.
Yeah.
I basically say, please excuse my language. I got to say, that's bullshit. You
Yeah.
don't have. No one ever died from a
Right.
real estate transaction, right?
Yeah.
And then there's the agent that starts getting some transactions. All of a sudden, the one transaction is the entire world.
Yes.
And then it takes them 3 months to get it closed, and they got nothing to do. And I say, hey, look, that's really cool if you want 4 checks a year.
Yep.
I'd like to see you get 4 checks a month.
Right.
Get paid like you had a 9 to 5, rather than like get a check weekly rather than a check every 4 months. So the question really, Jan, is really simple. How is there a trick? Is there like a rubber band on the wrist to stop us from doing certain things, to be completely 100% intentional?
Well, okay. So we can never, I always say, perfectionism won't happen this side of heaven. So why don't we go for 80%? So my solution to that, but I'm with you 100%, is that you need to change your perspective and what you allow. So you decide proactively by communicating with others what they can expect from you. So when you start out and you have clients, you're all psyched to answer that dang phone every time they call or text, because you told them you would be a great communicator. So but then when you have the listing, and when you have them as a buyer solidified, you can communicate with them and say, hey, this is what you can expect from me. And you're not available 24/7. And that is in people pleasing fear mode. So when you switch your brain into I'm a CEO mode, I can still be responsive, and it doesn't have to be when it's convenient for them. You actually can make it convenient for you. And I just say, I always use this example, and I just think that's so vivid and everybody can get it. If I live next door to a dentist, and I see her at the mailbox, and my tooth has been aching for days, I'll go out there and I'll say, hey, Stephanie, how you doing? Great. Hey, I'm sorry to bother you. I know, how people do to real estate. Hey, I know, but hey, can you tell me what my house is worth? But in this instance, I would say, I'm in a lot of pain. I just wondered, what do you suggest? What's she going to say? She's going to say, take Anbesol and then call my office at 9 a.m. in the morning. I will tell them your name, and I'll make them she'll get you in her office.
Right.
She's not going to perform dental expertise
at the mailbox. Right.
Okay. So that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I smile and I chuckle, because my dad was a dentist. So it's like, I have seen that, and people, I guess by osmosis, people think that I can answer dental questions as well, or I used to be able to. So I don't know what crazy it is. So I want to, this is really important, right? You said change your perspective by what you allow. And basically what you're doing is, from the very moment that you have a client, a customer, when they sign something, they turn it into a client, right? So whether it's a buyer or a seller, you need to set the expectation, as I know you talk about all the time. This is when I'm available. Like, for instance, with me, all of my agents, my team, my mentees, my coaching clients, it's this. I'm available 8 to 8 Monday to Thursday, 8 to 5 Monday to Friday. On weekends, I'm available by text.
Yeah.
That's it. And I tell them, look, if you call me after 8 o'clock, I will call you when I wake up in the morning. And I get up at 4:30. So I will call you back, but you won't like when I do. It's happened twice. They don't call me after 8 o'clock anymore.
Right.
But it's all about setting. It's all about setting intention, expectations, as you just said. Go into CEO mode. I mean, can we get a doctor's office to actually answer the phone rather than just a recording? No, we can't. And that's what you have to understand. If we want to be paid like that, we need to act like that as well. And I'm not saying ignore people. I'm saying to basically, hey, this is how I work. I'm a professional, plain and simple. Okay, so that is really great advice to anyone in this business. And, I want to tell you that multitasking, which you talked about earlier, a lot of people say, oh, I'm really good at multitasking. Okay, that's good. You might be really good at multitasking, but you're not good at getting any of those things done properly.
Yeah.
I don't think, I mean, yes, I'm going to say that women probably most likely and without question are able to do it better than men, without question. I agree with that. And I said, but multitasking means you're doing 3, 4, 5 things in a mediocre way.
Yes.
You can't do anything perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
When we work within our modern agent framework with our prospecting, it's very simple. 9:30 to 10, we're doing role play, and 10 to 11, we're making appointments, and 10 to 12, we're doing appointment setting through phone, and then from 12 to 1, we're doing all our social engagement appointment setting, which is an amazing thing. So as I've gone through a lot of stuff, and I like to learn as much as I can about the people that I broadcast with and have this special relationship with here, I do look at a lot of social media. I do look at a lot of things. So get ready for a couple of questions from some of your videos and posts that you've made. I want you to talk to me. I saw this and I said, I love this. This is really great, right? So talk to me about the 3 C's, right?
Ooh.
They were clarity, constraint, and consistency.
Yes.
And they're all, I mean, this was new to me when I heard this, and I said, holy crap, I love this. So I'm going to let you go through this right now.
Yeah. Okay. So when you are going for a goal, when clients first come to me, even if they're making 300, 500, I even have clients that came to me making over $1 million.
Right.
But they were making it in the hustle. Okay. And when that happens, all they are is a glorified worker. They're self-employed. Okay. Because they're not clear on what they want. They're not clear. And all they're doing is catch up, more action, more action. Okay. So what I found is that when you are clear and you begin with the foundation of a decision of being clear, that will allow your brain to be able to say when that squirrel thing comes by, or when the beautiful shiny object comes by, for you to constrain your brain to say, oh no, that looks good. That looks like, ooh, the old me would have been all over that, but not anymore. Right. Because, I had a coaching call this morning, and the woman said she wants 100 transactions this year. I said, how many did you have last year? She said 47. I asked her what her average sales price was. And she told me, and I said, what if I could help you increase your average sales price and you could make the same money with 47 transactions? Do you know what she said? She goes, I still want the 100 transactions. But that's because, and she's not clear.
She's not clear on what you want from the 100 transactions.
Right. So then when you can have constraint and you can say no and feel okay about the no in that constraint, that frees up time. And now you're able to be consistent. Right. And the most important thing a realtor can do is show up. Boom. Yeah. Absolutely.
So clarity, knowing what you want, constraint, being able to say that no. And what that's going to allow you to do is to be consistent. And I want to add one thing to that, if I could. It allows you to focus on the one thing at the one time for that one thing that you want to achieve, right? Yes, I take that from the book, The One Thing, but I also take it from very good friends of mine throughout the country. And we talk about the most important thing for our business and clarity and consistency is to do one thing at a time. One thing when you're doing the one thing, right? That makes sense?
Right, right. What can I do right now in this moment that would get me the biggest return? If I have 1 hour, so one of my clients, I was going to show a house, and the house now is under contract. Then instead of, pussyfooting around, checking email, seeing what else other people are posting, then I can be clear and say, "Oh, great! Now I'm going to do this," and
Right.
it's
Right.
really just an empowering way to run your business.
Yeah, and then one thing I want to say about that too is when you follow those 3 C's for you, it allows you to worry about how what you're doing at that one point in time is going to affect next week, next
Yeah,
month, next year. We have to understand that this certain discipline will affect your life in a year, even in 10 years. What you don't do today will affect 10 years from now,
oh my gosh.
believe it or not, right? I
Mhm.
mean, it's just something that I've learned recently that says, okay, discipline is so important and I suck at it and I used to suck at
Yeah,
it. I'm getting better and better and better.
yeah.
Okay, so let's go to the 3 mistakes, another video, 3 mistakes
Uh-huh.
agents make with their business and with their buyers and sellers.
Okay. I would say, and I don't know
I,
about that particular thing.
I'm going to give them to you, right? Because it's not fair for me just to throw something at
No,
you.
no, it's okay. I
And
can wait.
because the first one I love, which was the most important for me, is they don't pre-qualify, they don't
Right.
set expectations, which we already talked about a little
Yeah.
bit, and they don't ask that most important question for the business. So talk
Yeah.
to me about that in little detail about the mistakes that agents are making and when they don't do all these things.
Right. Okay. So what I want to share is that I'm big on neuroscience, and that is, how past trauma has affected how we approach life. Right. And so there are people that are in the hustle, action, action, action. They feel that they need external accolades. They need to perform. Okay, that's people pleasing. They need to perform in order to feel worthy. Okay, and those are very deep neural pathways. So those, but they can be changed. That's great news. That's what I help people do.
Right, right,
So in that, people please. So the reason that's why they don't pre-qualify, because they're like, man, if my phone's ringing, I ain't gonna pre-qualify. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna, and some of them are driving like 30, 40 an hour to a buyer without pre-qualifying. Now, I do want to say that I understand the importance and the value of getting face to face, because some people have a negative view of realtors. But
yep,
that doesn't preclude you from asking some questions so that you can somewhat qualify them and see if it's worth your gas and your time to go, and then qualify further when you're with them. But I do want to share that. And it's also, stepping into taking off the worker bee, giving myself a job, self-employed hat, and putting on the CEO hat, which says, just like that dentist, or a lawyer or a doctor, I say, look, we're licensed to practice real estate, just like a lawyer is practicing real estate. Da, da, da. So when you call, and I'm divorced, married now for 24 years, but I got divorced. And when I walked in, he said, all right, he had an intake of questions. He wanted to pre-qualify me, right? So the second one is, expectations. And again, I believe that people don't want to share expectations. Like when I was an agent and when I had my team, I would teach, and I still teach this to my clients, that it's important for you to be be proud about the expectations that you share, that they can expect from you, and also what you expect from them,
right,
right? If you're
exactly,
gonna, I'm gonna prioritize time.
100%,
Yeah, yeah. And then
100%.
the last one was, asking questions. It's like you're not being interviewed. You're interviewing them. And when you take it from, and I'm sorry, now my guys are cutting the grass here. I hope you don't hear that.
I
But
don't.
but yeah, you have to ask deeper questions. We have to stop being surface. If you are continuing to be surface, you're going to get paid like a novice. If you want to ask deeper questions, then you'll get paid in six figures, multi six figures, million plus.
Aren't the questions the basis of what we should be doing on a regular basis with our clients?
Ding, ding, ding. Yeah. What a concept.
Right? And at the most, I love this line and I use it all the time. If you're making statements like I do this and I do that, or I'm really good at this, it's about you. If you're
Yeah.
asking questions, it's about them. And the deeper as you just said, you must ask deep questions. The deeper the question, the more you really are showing you care about them. And look, we all talk about when we're talking to our potential clients that we need to be empathetic and we need to meet them where they are and find out what their pain is. And honestly, if you're doing that in a fake way, one
Yep.
way or the other, you're going to suffer from it.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you one other thing because last week I had Alexa Rosario from Fort Lauderdale on, and we talked about people constantly talk about the hustle, the hustle, the hustle, the hustle, right? And you've said a couple of times in the hustle,
Yeah.
right? Are you making it in the hustle? If you're in the hustle, you're more or less, doing whatever you can. You're people pleasing. Actually, you're pleasing yourself because you think you're doing more than you are. And a
Right.
lot of times you're spinning your wheels. And it seems like this is starting to be a little bit of a theme for me in my broadcast where people talk about the hustle, the grit,
Yeah.
the grind, all this other crap. And I say that with all due respect to people that are really hustling, right? I had an agent who I've engaged with recently telling me that when she started working harder and working longer hours last October, it increased her business tremendously. And I asked, okay, so now it's time for you to scale and to systematize and processize what you're doing so that you can do more and not have and work less.
Yeah.
She goes, nope, I'm just going to work harder, continue to work harder and harder and harder.
Yeah.
How do we get away from this hustle crap?
Yeah. So let me share with you the definition, because I used to apologize and I was in the hustle, right? Until I figured it out, right? Which is just so amazing when you figure it out. So first of all, I just want to share real quick the difference between hustle and hard work, because it just feels different. When you're in the hustle, you feel reactive. When you're working hard, okay, you feel efficient, effective. Okay. But this culture, we've been conditioned to say, like, when's the last time you said, "How you doing?" And somebody said, "Man, I'm bored out of my mind. Life is so slow."
Nobody.
Never, never. It's like, "Man, I'm busy. I had this, I had that." A single mom, I mean, not a single mom, like a stay-at-home mom that doesn't have to
Sure.
work will tell you she's busy, right? So what I'm saying is hustle is coming from a place of fear and disclarity, like not being clear at all. It's just like, I have to keep performing, I need external accolades. Whereas hard work is working from a place of belief that I'm a CEO, that I have a clear goal that I'm working toward, and yes, I'm focused, and when I'm focused I work hard. Hustle allows people to miss important non-work stuff, birthday parties, dinners. Hard work, no way, man. When you're focused, you do have hard times of hard work, and then you also have your off work time. So what I like to say is, a hustler, somebody who identifies as a hustler, I hustle my way, like it's cool. They are sad, they're depressed, they're shop too much, drink too much, eat too much, right, to comfort themselves from all the chaos. And somebody who works hard has definitive boundaries of work time versus non-work time. And life is hard. I'm not going to say it's not hard. I'm just saying that when you have a clear goal of where you're going, and then you can own your calendar, and you don't feel like world is happening to you,
Right.
it's happening for you.
So basically what you're saying, and I want to put this together in a different way, maybe a little different way. Working hard is basically working smart, the way
Yeah.
we're putting it here. And what I mean by that is you've got everything planned out where you've really got to keep your nose to the grindstone, be really disciplined on what you do, just keep doing it and keep following that one thing that we said, right?
That's the
And
one
be,
thing.
be
Yeah.
follow a schedule, a calendar, organization,
Yeah.
systematize, processize. And hustling is more reactive than proactive. And that's
Yeah.
a good way to describe it. Would you agree with that?
Yes. And I think that the hustler cannot tell you what's on their calendar, and a hard worker can.
That is
Yeah.
amazing. I love that. The hustler can't tell you what's on their calendar, but the hard worker can.
Other people put their stuff and their priorities into the hustler's calendar. The hard worker lines their calendar with what's their priority. So I like to tell my clients about it this way. A hustler is like an overdrawn bank account. Okay. Up, you got an overdrawn notice. I have to react to it. Whereas a hard worker understands that they have value and they take that non-work time to make deposits in their life, right?
I
So it's the whole CEO agent lifestyle of making great money, serving great clients, right? Because you have standards. We don't have to help everyone so that I can enjoy a great life outside of work.
So talk to me about the CEO agent lifestyle, because
Yeah.
that's what Jan Copeland is, Coach Jan Copeland, CEO Agent Academy. Talk to me about that.
Yeah.
What do you got going on? How are you helping people? And
Yeah.
just go through that and tell me all about that.
Okay. So what I my foundation is to help women have a plan that they love and build a business that they love, right? So we don't start with what they think, like, and
Right.
words are very powerful. When you talk to someone and they say, well, I feel like I need to, like, whoa, stop. Mm-mm. What's your brand? Tell me about you, right? So it's on a foundation of you and what you like. Like I told you, I love being with women and having lunch, so I created, the event. So I help people figure out their brand, which is based around what they already love.
Right.
And what happens is when you put yourself where you love being, guess what? You're not going to be awkward. You're not going
That's
to
right.
feel salesy.
That's right.
You're just going to
That's
be
right.
so empowered. So once you nail your brand and we go all in, right? Then you're able to never feel salesy again because we put together a messaging plan that I call it for listing queens, the listing queen protocol to get listings. And it allows you to always be thinking and solving for how can I proactively share what I know my homeowners are thinking and what their hesitations are to selling in this example of a listing queen. And then let's put out messaging for that. So it's like, and then it doesn't ever feel salesy because you understand the deep value that you're bringing and the problem that you're solving for your client. So it allows you to make great money because you feel great about what you're doing because you created this wow client experience that you're delighted to give. They're delighted to receive it. And then you serve great clients because in like they get an intake for buyers, an intake for listings, and you're the one interviewing, not them. And when you approach it that way, then you can say, you know what, you're not for me. You wouldn't say it this way, but you know what? Like when I had a team and I was in a listing appointment, I'd be like, our team can happily take care of you, and you'd be perfect for Susie because Susie and I would mention something like them because I knew I didn't want to deal with them. They didn't meet my standards, right? And it's just because as an entrepreneur, we get to do that.
Right. So talk to me about the listing queen, because I saw a bunch of stuff on listing queen
Yeah.
protocol, etc.
So I was a listing queen, and I feel that where we are right now, as we're recording this, April 2023, where there's 20 buyers to every listing, right? There's a
Right.
shortage on listings.
Absolutely.
That's what's needed right now. So I created a listing queen intensive, a 5-day listing queen intensive, and they can go to coachjancopeland.com/intensive to sign up for it. And then I will give them the replay of all 5 days training, which includes the listing queen protocol, which is the exact foundation of what to do, the zero objection blueprint, so that you can proactively get ahead of any objections, creating demand, which is your
Right.
mailing, messaging, all that. And it allows agents, women agents, to feel empowered, and we don't have to look for our next client. Oh, when somebody says that, I know that they're a hustler as opposed to a CEO. Because
So how do
yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. No.
Because when you know the value that you have and you know that your marketing and management of listings and your sellers is second to none, then you'd be remiss if you didn't shout it from the rooftops. So
Exactly. So
yeah,
how do people get the listing queen protocol?
they have to go to coachjancopeland.com/intensive, and they'll put their information, and then I will give them the 5 days of training, and that includes the listing queen protocol and the zero objections blueprint, how to create demand, and something else that now escapes me.
What was the slash on that? coachjancopeland.com/
Intensive.
Okay,
Because
so
it
I
was
want
a
to put
listing.
this on the screen.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But
Okay,
right
so
now, the
there.
CEO Agent Academy is open, and that is my signature program, 6-month signature program. And it's the only one that women realtors get lifetime access to.
That's
That
awesome.
has them, gives them everything they need, nothing they don't. I don't do fluff. So they'll learn how to be a listing queen. It's one of the other modules is buyer boom. So it goes from prospect to post closing, which is forever. The only 3 systems they ever need, and the mindset piece, which is so freaking huge. People don't think you need the mindset,
It's
and you
huge.
have
It's absolutely huge. Mindset is absolutely huge. So okay, so we have on your here on the screen your Instagram
to.
handle. We also have coachjancopeland.com/intensive, which is where they can get the listing queen information.
Yes,
Um, if you were a new agent, where would you have a new woman agent start?
that's a great question. And I'm going to say that I would have them start like when I had a new team member, I would ask them about them, and I would ask them, what do you like doing? I have clients that are icon exp agents that play tennis. That's their one to many. We have to uncover what your one to many source is going to be in person, and
Right.
then we have to discover which social media you want to go in on, just one. And I would say go all in on that one to many that you choose, with relationships, just everything being out there, being overt and showing, like I have clients that wear bright fuchsia pink wherever they go, but that's like that's what I would do. And then on social media, if you don't like social media, I just want to share with you that um, one of my clients is killing it on YouTube. She hates social media, but YouTube is a search engine and she's killing it. So I would say if you hate social media, I don't know if YouTube is a social media, but I would say that's pretty awesome.
Number one, I want to clear that up just to see people talk about YouTube and well, I want to start a YouTube channel. If you're not going to do it properly, don't do it because you're
Right.
not going to win there. But here's the one thing I want you to understand is Facebook and Instagram and TikTok are basically non-directive, right? They're non-directional. YouTube is directional. What do I mean by that? Nobody woke up on a Saturday morning and went to Facebook, TikTok, or Instagram to buy a house.
Yeah.
They might look for someone, they might find you one way or the other. But when they go to YouTube, it's a search engine, as you said, and they're searching, how to buy a home. Because when I need to fix something in my house,
Yeah.
I'm going to YouTube because that is called YouTube University for me. And
I love
most
it.
people don't call it that, but it is.
Mhm.
Jan, this has been a great broadcast. I'm on the road. We're at Panera. People walking by like crazy, trying to ask me questions, but it's really cool. I'm glad I did this. I'm glad you were able to join us today. I have just a couple of quick things for you. Is there anything you want to say to people out, that will watch this now or watch it later, aside from that one thing you just said?
Yeah. I just want to say that whatever you're resisting in your business is the very thing that will take you to your next level. And so I used to reject and resist mindset. It's everything. So whatever you're resisting, that is actually the thing. I
Right.
can almost guarantee you that's the thing that will get you through a breakthrough, and that will get you out of the hustle into a beautiful life of hard work and CEO existence and enjoyment.
And one of the things I heard from a good friend of mine, Bill Pipes, most people might know Bill. Um, he says, "What you resist persists."
Yeah. Oh,
Right.
I love
So
that. Yeah.
you need to get away from that. So Jan, I have one other question. But by the way, everybody, Jan's contact information is scrolling on the screen. Her Instagram is there. I have two other things for us today, Jan, before we wrap it up. One is, what can I do? What can Dave Finale do to help you grow your business?
Wow. That's a great question. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Um, That's a great question. I don't even know other than just share with women realtors, team leaders and brokers that I exist, because there's
Absolutely.
no other woman coach who really focuses on the neuroscience, because that is at the basis of our lives. You know,
Well,
if you,
I actually look. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I mean to
no,
cut you
I'm
off.
just
Go
going
ahead.
to say that most people live life subconsciously, and really I teach you how to blaze a new neural pathway, and now you're living consciously. It changes lives. I had more than a handful of women come to me saying my husband wants to divorce me, like we have a terrible relationship, and I'm no marriage counselor, please don't misunderstand, but guess what, they're all happily married now. I don't know what to tell you. There's power in this.
There's a lot of power in this. And last but not least, I know you heard about from Ruth about the hat. Yep, here's the hat. It's going to be sent out to you real soon. Hey, everybody! Next week we got a great show coming up. We have Amy Turow, who is the president of Curated Learning. If you haven't heard of Amy, please look her up. She is a dynamite social media and marketing expert. She's going to be joining us next week. Again, Jan, I want to thank you so much for coming on today. Please stick around for one more minute as we finish up the broadcast. And everybody, next week, we'll see you next week. We will be back at home next week. I can't wait for next week. I can't wait to finish this broadcast. Thanks so much. See you, everybody.